Hello, class of 2021. I am live from my basement, as you've all seen me before. So, today we're going to be talking about the following. Our learning intentions are first, students will learn what it means to have a balanced college list. Second, students will learn the difference between a reach, a target, and a likely college. Students will apply this knowledge to themselves to identify colleges that would fit in each category for you individually. Students will work on revising your resumes by having an individual meeting with their assigned resume mentor. So you can see that last one is a little bit unrelated to the first two. Well, let's talk about the first two. So what does it mean to have a balanced college list? You might have heard us talk about that before. You need to have a balanced college list ultimately. We're talking long term here, right? Like this is late summer, early fall. Really, by October, you need to get your list mostly finalized. But what does it mean to have a balanced college list? So, yes, Karate Kid. This is a movie from my youth. Maybe you've seen it. Maybe you haven't. It's a good one. I recommend going out and checking it out if you haven't seen it. But yes, balance is key. Look at him balanced on that boat. What we don't want to be is like this guy. Ooh, oh, that's not balanced. Yikes. He is no Karate Kid. One more time. Not fun. Okay, so a balanced college list is this. It is one that has schools that are likely, targets, and reaches. So 1 to 2 likely schools, 3 to 4 targets, 3 to 4 reaches. What is a likely school? Here we go. So your academic profile is stronger than the middle 50% of students who are typically admitted. So you're stronger than the average student who is admitted. So your chances of being admitted are high. Okay? So that is what a likely school is. What about a target? Your academic profile is similar to the middle 50% of students who are typically admitted. These schools sometimes admit and sometimes deny students like you. So based on students' GPAs and SAT or ACT scores, you're around the mid 50%. So you might get in, you might not. There's a chance, right? Decent chance. So then we have reach schools. A reach school is where a student's academic profile is not as strong as the middle 50% of students who are typically admitted. And or the college's admit rate is less than 25%. I was going to repeat that last part again. Any college that has an admission rate of less than 25% is a reach for everyone, no matter if you are someone with a perfect GPA, perfect SAT scores, and like you're working in the summer on discovering cures for cancer. Yay for all of those things. The college is still a reach for you. So all students' chances for being admitted to reach schools are low. And this is not to say like you're not good enough to go to one of these schools or you're not smart enough or anything else. It just means that they're not likely to admit you. It's very different than being capable of doing the work. Okay, so we're going to look at SCORE for a moment together, and I have created a fake student account here, and I am logged in as that student. My name is Jane Doe. So she is now part of the class of 2021 at Worcester. Hi, me, Jane Doe. I'm going to go here to my colleges. And I just threw in a random assortment of schools, and we're just going to look at some of these schools and decide together whether or not they are a reach, a target, or a likely. So this is what it should look like when you log in. If you're not following any schools, you should add some colleges here, and your college counselor will be adding if they haven't already also. So let's check out Bowdoin up in Maine. So I click on Bowdoin, and it gives me some information here. I can see right off the bat that the acceptance rate is 14%. So what does that tell me? That tells me right off the bat that this is a reach, no matter what. Okay? My profile of Jane Doe has a GPA on the Worcester scale of 4.9, I believe, and then an 1100 on the PSATs or the SATs. I forget which one I put it in as. You can use either one and it's fine. So automatically it's a reach because it has an acceptance rate lower than 14%. But let's take a look at the scattergram here. So it was hidden, I think, and I opened it up. So view scattergram, it opens up. If I scroll down here, just so you know, you can put your clicker here and you can make this bigger or smaller. So I'm going to open it up. I want to make sure I can see myself on here. Here's me. I'm the star down here. And you'll see these red triangles up here. There's a little key. Red triangles mean not accepted. Green circle means accepted. Waitlisted and deferred. Okay, so I can see students above me, above my profile. This doesn't mean anything about my character or anything else. And we know that just because you have a high GPA or SAT score does not really say diddly squat in terms of long-term success, right? In life or anything else. It doesn't say how hard someone works or anything else. Okay, but I digress. Here we are. This is me, round 1100, round of 4.9 GPA at Worcester. And there are students above me, I can see here, who had higher scores and were denied. So even if I didn't have that fact that Bowdoin accepts only 14% of students, I would say this is automatically a reach for me no matter what. Okay, just because of where other students who have applied from Worcester are falling and being denied with significantly higher GPA and SAT scores. All right, and Bowdoin is test optional, right? But just looking at GPAs across this, right? Here's my GPAs. I see students with 5.5, 5.3, it looks like, being denied. And so that tells me I've got a lower chance of getting in. There's a student with, looks like 5.2 or so, 5.67, and denied, right? So just good information for me. Again, not a judgment on me as a person or anything else. All right, College of Charleston. Okay, I don't see myself. Let's go up to the top again. Acceptance rate is 80%. So I'm like, okay, that's very doable. They're accepting 4 out of 5 students, 80%. Let's look down here. Average SAT is 1150. That's what my Jane Doe has, I believe, 1150. So she's right in the mid 50% if that's the average. And I can't quite see myself here. All right, now here I go. Okay, so here's my acceptances. And I see students like me being accepted and some near me being denied. So I would say because of the high acceptance rate and because students like me are being accepted and denied, I put this somewhere between a target and a likely, right? There's no exact, it's not black and white. So I'm going to say target because of the chart down here and students similar to me being denied and accepted. And, this is just data points, right? So this doesn't tell us anything else about what's going on with that student or what they're involved with outside and extracurriculars, blah, blah, blah. All right, so now I've got a target and a reach. You can see it shows up here. Reach is shown up as a red circle, target as a yellow circle. Let's take a look at Dickinson. Acceptance rate is about 50%, okay? That's good. I look here for myself. Where do I fall here? Okay, so my SAT scores are lower. Now, I know this because, I deal with this stuff all the time. Dickinson is test optional, so they don't necessarily need to see my test scores. I see students with lower GPAs, so 4.39 accepted, early action. That tells me that's helpful. See a student with 4.68 accepted, early action. See students similar to me. So I'm going to say because students with similar GPAs are being accepted, I know they're test optional and it doesn't actually really matter that much, and schools care much more about my GPA anyways. I'm going to call this a target. Okay. Target. Great. Let's go down here and we're going to skip Lafayette. We're going to go to McDaniel. Now, McDaniel's admitting 85% of students. It's a pretty high number. I look here, and where do I fall? Okay. Now, McDaniel also is test optional. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. But I see students with lower GPAs than me being accepted, multiples of them, and students with slightly higher GPAs and SAT scores. And so I'm going to put this one, given the number of students being accepted, around my scores or below my scores, plus the fact that they admit 85%, I'm going to say this is a likely. All right. So this is not an exact science. Miss Guittardo and I do this all the time, right? So we're able to pretty quickly say whether or not we think it's a reach or target or likely, or it falls somewhere in between. But for the purposes of you ultimately having a balanced list, we want you to be able to do the same thing. Okay. So this is how we would do it. Let's do one more together. Let's look at UConn. All right, UConn's admitting about 50%, 48%. Got a lot of data points from UConn, okay? And you can see here, they clearly, I'm falling below our Worcester 25% threshold of students accepted, mid 50%, upper 75%. But this is just Worcester. We still have limited data points, even though we have a bunch for UConn. You can see a whole bunch of students, the lower profile than me, being accepted. And some denied also, right? One denied here. But I'm going to say this is a target. All right, so looks like students stronger than me and weaker than me. The admit rate isn't as high as it was at McDaniel. And so that's going to be a target. And that's how we do this. So that's how we figure out whether or not a school is a reach, a target, or a likely. And coming back to my slides, I need to talk about one more thing that's really, really important. As you build your college list, do you like my little key dancing guy here? When you build your college list, every school that you ultimately apply to has to be a place that you could see yourself attending. Sometimes students will say, well, this is a likely school, but I'm not really interested. I wouldn't want to go there. You never know what's going to happen. You never know. I mean, look at the state that we are in today with coronavirus and all kinds of other things that can happen in the world that we can't predict. You don't know what's going to happen with your family financially or anything else. And so every school that you apply to has to be a place where you could say, yep, I would be happy going to this school. It's a really important piece of having a list that is balanced, right? All places that you can see yourself going. So just to come back to it one more time, a balanced list has 1 to 2 likely schools, 3 to 4 targets, and 3 to 4 reaches. And if you want the definitions again, go back through the slideshow, pause. But now you're going to go on and do some work in altitude card number 7. So hope you're all doing well. Looking forward to seeing you next week on Google Hangouts. Okay.